Hey guys, I want to talk to you today about two big questions. Number one, how do I know I'm a Christian? And then number two, and related to that, is how do I grow as a Christian? And these are really, really good questions. And thankfully, Jesus teaches exactly on this subject. And this comes up in John chapter 15. And here's what Jesus says. He says, I am the true vine, and my Father is the gardener. Every branch in me that does not produce fruit, he removes. And he prunes every branch that produces fruit so that it will produce more fruit. You're already clean because the word I have spoken to you. Remain in me and I in you. Some translations say abide. It means stay. Stay in me and I will stay in you. Just as a branch is unable to produce fruit by itself unless it remains on the vine, neither can you unless you remain in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. The one who remains in me and I in him produces much fruit, because you can do nothing without me. At its core, being a Christian is about being connected to Jesus and producing fruit, which means growing in Christ-likeness over time. And so how do you know you're a Christian? The answer is, are you connected to Jesus and are you becoming more like him over time? How do you grow as a Christian? Well, you keep doing the things that connect you to Jesus and you keep producing fruit. So let me give you an illustration of this. It's almost like Jesus is saying, you are a waffle maker. And apart from accord, from power, you can do nothing. Just as it would be ridiculous for this waffle maker to on its own be like, I'm just going to try really hard to make some waffles. Apart from Jesus, we can do nothing. We need his power flowing in us and through us to produce fruit. So I am the power, you plug into me, and then you can produce fruit, is what Jesus says. So we have to ask, what does this mean? How do we plug into God and Jesus? What does that look like? And the practical answer is that's the spiritual disciplines. Spiritual disciplines are so important and so powerful is because they plug us into God. But this shows another way where Christians can get this wrong. And that there's sometimes Christians, and I've been guilty of this in my own life, who are like, look at me, I'm reading my Bible and praying and giving and being generous and serving others. I'm doing all these spiritual disciplines. It would be the equivalent of a waffle maker being like, look at me, I'm plugged into the power. Spiritual disciplines are important because they plug us into God. But then the point is the waffles. The point is, now that you're plugged into God, he's transforming you and you're becoming more and more like Jesus over time. The point is the fruit. So spiritual disciplines are important, but they're not self-help. They're actually God-help. They're how we plug into God so that he, over time, can transform us and change us. So we're making these waffles. Now, what are the waffles? Again, they are fruit, in Jesus' analogy. When you look in passages like Galatians 5, that's character traits such as love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, self-control. But also when you look at other passages, it becomes very clear that these are not just personality traits, but it's actually doing the things that Jesus did. Right? So if you think of the fruits of the Spirit, that's like becoming the kind of person Jesus was. But then it's also about your works, the things that you do as a result of that personality and identity change, and becoming the kind of person that does the very kinds of things that Jesus did while he was on earth, reaching out and serving others and giving hope and healing to others. So the question I would ask you is, if you don't know you're a Christian, was there a time when you repented of not being connected to God and chose to follow Jesus with your life? And are you becoming more and more like him over time? Are you making waffles? I hope you remember, following Jesus is about being connected to him and becoming more like him. Now that is a yummy waffle.